anything that you need to share?
I do, yeah. Will I be able just to share my, oh, I think I have to get permission to share my screen. There we go. Perfect, thank you. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, are you all seeing that? I can get like a thumbs up if we're seeing the, okay, perfect. All right, well, thank you for the introduction. Oh, I'm trying to, there we go. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Sydney Dunn, and I am a clinical therapist with Student Counseling Services, like Sophie said. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about mindful self-compassion. So I know this is a really stressful time for everyone, and especially being student leaders and being super involved on campus, there's a lot of extra stress and a lot of added pressure in your lives. And so we'll talk a little bit about ways to cope with some of that stress, ways to give yourself some compassion that we're always very good at giving others, but kind of tuning that into ourselves and giving ourselves that same courtesy. And then we'll also talk a little bit about student counseling services and our services that we have available to all students. This is one of my favorite quotes in relation to mental health, mental wellness, and that's, "You can't pour from an empty cup." And so again, being student leaders and being involved on campus, you have a lot of obligations. You have family relationships, friendships, you have schoolwork. Some of you are working or doing internships or doing all these different things, right? And all these commitments and all these relationships, they take energy. And so if you imagine that all of your energy and all of your commitments are kind of a vessel of sorts. So if it's a coffee cup or if it's a bucket, and so each commitment and each relationship is going to take a little bit from that. So eventually you're left with nothing. And so you can no longer give to others. You can no longer give to yourself. And so we need to take time for self-care and that mindful self-compassion in order to keep filling that cup up. So thinking about ways that we can be more present for ourselves and ways that we can be more present and more involved and committed to all of our engagements. So when we have an empty cup or when we're experiencing burnout, a lot of us have probably felt that before, you know, whether that was in high school or whether we're already starting to feel some burnout here in college, but it can happen in any role. So it's any time that there's those persistent stressors where what's being asked of us is more than what we're capable of doing or more than we are able to give right now. So again, it's that cup is tipping over, but there's nothing left to give. So that's when we're going to experience, I'll move on to this one, but we're going to be experiencing reduced empathy. So we're not going to feel as, you know, if someone fails a test, we're maybe not going to have the empathy that we might have of like, oh goodness, they must have something going on in their life. You know, we're going to think like, we're going to be cynical. We're going to think, oh, they must not have studied, or we're going to not be as engaged in our commitments. We're not going to show up for ourselves and show up for others the way that we might if we had that full cup or if we weren't experiencing that burnout. We're also not going to feel as accomplished because we're not gaining as much joy from the things that we're doing and the commitments that we have because we're feeling burnt out, we're feeling tired of it. And that's going to lead to anxiety, hopelessness, those feelings of when something used to bring you joy and it doesn't anymore. That's really scary and that's really frustrating. And so that's when we know that we're burning out and that cup is running low. And so right now, our cups are, you know, constantly being dipped into with all of our commitments, but COVID and the pandemic and systemic racism and all of these things that are happening in the world and in you know, our city and on our campus, it's adding extra stress to that. So we're all going to be impacted in different ways. As humans, we really love routine, we love structure, and so we are having to kind of fly by the seat of our pants and be really open and flexible to things and looking at a semester that looks completely different than we might have envisioned for our fall semester, and if it's your first year especially. So we're not able to connect as much with others. We are not able to support others. We're not able to get the support that we need. And so there's a lot of uncertainty there, and that uncertainty will show up in different ways for everyone, but just know that we're all kind of feeling this collective anxiety or this collective pain together. And it's, like I said, it shows up differently, but there is some unity in that we're all going through this experience together, and we need to get creative. We need to find ways to connect in meaningful ways that are maybe different than we envisioned. So that brings us to self-compassion. So self-compassion is the compassion and the kindness that you would give to someone else, but of course, giving it to yourself. So the root of that is mindfulness. So mindfulness is recognizing the way that we are, recognizing our feelings and emotions, getting in tune with how we feel, the way that things around us are impacting us, really sitting with those emotions and allowing them to be. So not judging ourselves or not, telling ourselves that we should act a certain way or shouldn't act a certain way. Being really, really calm with ourselves, giving ourselves a lot of grace. And that's self-kindness as well. So being understanding and supportive towards yourself the way you would a friend or a family member. If someone's coming to you and saying that they're hurting or that they're experiencing a lot of anxiety or stress during the pandemic, you're going to show them compassion. And so we want to be able to do that for ourselves as well. And a big part of this is connectedness. And that's something that's extra hard to do right now because we are not able to connect in person as much as we might want to or as much as we might have before. So again, it's really important to find those meaningful ways to stay connected with our friends and family. So what we know is that self-compassion and that mindfulness, it leads to decreased stress because we're not being as hard on ourselves. So if you think about someone following you around all day saying critical things or telling you you're not doing a good job or telling you that you should have done something differently or criticizing every move you make, that would get super annoying. And it would be really frustrating to have this person constantly putting you down. And so sometimes that person is us and sometimes that person is in our mind. And we have to remember that we're the only person that we have to be with 24/7. So to give ourselves some grace, to give ourselves some kindness, and to really allow those emotions to just exist instead of feeling like we could or should do something different, it's going to reduce our stress tremendously because it's one less person being critical of us. And so we apply that. I've used this example before, but we apply that, talking to a friend who's struggling, talking to yourself in that same manner. So you're not going to say, why did you do that? You should have known better. What were you thinking? If a friend comes to you and is hurting and has made a bad choice or is going through something hard, we automatically show that love or we show that kindness to them. And so noticing those emotions, experiencing the same kind of warmth or grace that you would give someone else, but turning that onto you. And this is one of my favorite points too, is recognizing the shared human experience of the pain. So again, with COVID, we are kind of all in this shared experience together. So knowing that we're all struggling, we're all going through something together, experiencing it differently, but we're all dealing with our own stuff right now. All right, that's my mindful self-compassion spiel, and I have resources for that at the end too, and I'll send this PowerPoint to Sophie as well, but we have some really great resources that we're going to talk about next, and then I will let you all get to the rest of your program tonight. So Student Counseling Services is under the Student Health and Wellness umbrella. So that's Rec Services, Student Wellness, us, and TLIN. So we are all a part of Student Health and Wellness. You'll see like the Be Well kind of logo on some of our advertising, and that's all encompassing with all of Student Wellness. So we're all collaborating, we're all working together for the good of students. Right now, so typically in a typical semester without COVID, we would do Monday through Thursday, 8 to 3 walk-in services. So you just walk in our doors, we're in the student services building, you go up to 3rd floor, you say, I want to get started with counseling. Right now is a little different because we are trying to maximize social distancing. We are doing all of our support virtually. So all you have to do is give us a call. You'll talk to Elisa or Miranda, who are our 2 amazing front desk supports, and they'll ask a few questions. They'll send you an email with some information to fill out. You will get connected with the counselor same day. So that process is 20 minutes, half an hour of just talking with the counselor about what you're interested in working on, what's going on in your life, why you're making the step, why you're looking into getting some additional support, and then we'll talk about how we can best support you. And our services are based on a stepped care model. So the idea is to find the best fit of services to the needs of the student. So we have a variety of different services that meet a variety of different needs. So one that I'm going to talk about is TAO, and that was actually funded by student government last year. And so we are very thrilled to have that. It's getting rave reviews. There's several hundred students that are already utilizing TAO. So we'll give a little plug to student government always for supporting us in that. But we have some self-guided self-help, we have groups, we have workshops, we have it's called Let's Talk, but it's just maybe bouncing some ideas around with the counselor in a really informal setting. We have individual counseling, and then also if you're wanting something more frequently, then we provide at the center, or if you're wanting something more longer term, because our services are every other week and they're typically 4 to 8 sessions, we can also refer to a bunch of really great counselors in the Ames community. So TAO, again, thank you student government, but it is an online resource and it's available to anyone with an @iastate.edu email address. So staff, faculty, students, anyone is able to enroll, get started. There's a few different topics and modules that you can go through, and those are listed here. But there's also additional self-help tools in there as well. There's some mindfulness, some meditation, and lots of really great at your fingertips on an app, on your phone, where we are constantly living anyway. But some really great work that can be done without having to call us, without having to do the intake. So this is a really great place to start if you're interested in learning more about mental health and wellness or learning some new skills. We also have a service called Biofeedback, and that is like a very science-based approach where you monitor heart rate, you monitor breathing, and you find ways to get those synced up well, to reduce your stress, to kind of come up with some better coping. And it's a really cool service that I think is underutilized, and I think a lot of students could really benefit from. So the information again will be in the PowerPoint, and of course all of it is on our website as well. And then career services. So if you are not sure what your major should be, if you have a major but you're not sure what you can do with it, if you want a complete overhaul and you want to do some assessments to learn where your strengths are or where your interests could lead you, we have career exploration services as well. So we have some career coaches who are, we have some undergrads, we also have some grad assistants that participate in that program, and then we have our counseling staff available to help with that as well. All right, and then lastly, during the quarantine, we worked hard to do some live workshops and some videos that were hopefully reaching people. Obviously, we left school kind of hastily and we weren't sure when we were coming back. So we put together a lot of different live workshops and even shorter, we call them our Skills Corner videos. All of those can be found on our YouTube page. The workshops are about an hour long and the Skills Corner videos are anywhere from like a minute to 5 minutes. So lots of helpful tips right at your fingertips, because we know that accessibility is hugely important to getting access to mental health resources. All right, I think that's my whole quick synopsis of what we do at Student Counseling Services. Again, I'll send this presentation out, but follow us on social media. We're constantly posting information about our groups or what we're up to, or different ways that we can support you. So connect with us. We are here for you. We are always a good place to start. If you're not sure where to start, you can always start with us and we will help get you connected.
Thank you so much, Sydney. Let's see. Oh, I lost my screen here. And so if anybody has any questions for Sydney, you can reach out to me via email and I can send you her email, or and I will send out the presentation to anybody that was on the email list for this event.
Thank you so much for having me. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys.
Thank you, Sydney.
Thank you.
And Taylor, if you want to get started with your presentation, I gave you co-host access.
Perfect, thank you. I will share my screen. Okay, can everyone see the presentation okay? Perfect. So I'll try to keep this as brief as I can to fit into the 20-minute time frame. But my name is Taylor. I am a sophomore at Iowa State, majoring in psychology, and I am an academic success peer ambassador with the Academic Success Center. Today we'll be going over just an overview of the services that we offer at the ASC. So our objective for today is to learn about the services and opportunities that we offer through the Academic Success Center and how you can use them throughout your college experience. We'll go over the mission of the Academic Success Center. I'll provide you with some academic skill development resources, some course-based support resources, as well as student employment opportunities and some resources that you can use. So to be able to fully utilize everything that the ASC has to offer, we want to make sure that you understand our mission and exactly who we are. We offer Psych 131, academic coaching, workshops, tutoring, and supplemental instruction courses, and we offer our services through skill development and course-based support. So at the ASC, we want to develop students as reflective learners. This means that we want students to think about what they read or the topic that they just heard in lecture and make meaning out of the material to apply it. And this is especially important right now with online courses. It's really easy to just not listen to your online lecture and be scrolling on your phone or doodling in your notebook or whatever that may be for you. So we do this through academic coaching, Psych 131, and then these workshops, which is what we're doing now. Another way to achieve your academic goals through the Academic Success Center is through experiencing peer facilitated learning. This is an option through SI and tutoring. And then we also want to give students opportunities to reach new leadership goals. So we also offer many student employment opportunities. So like I was saying before, we have academic skill development and course-based support resources. With academic skill development, we offer academic coaching, Psych 131, and workshops. And then through course-based support, we offer tutoring services and supplemental instruction. Although we have these different categories though, they really go hand in hand. So what you learn through course-based support can be directly applied through academic skill development and vice versa. So first we'll start with the academic skill development resources. And the first one we'll go over is academic coaching. So academic coaching is free one-on-one meetings. They offer individualized support over things like time management, exam preparation, motivation, or procrastination. Academic coaches are completely voluntary. You're not required to go to one for any specific reason. And with COVID and everything, they are all online. All of our resources that I'll be talking about today will only be offered online through the semester. A quote from a student who used our academic coaching, they said, "I got 2 A's in college for the first time. I just needed someone else to help me get it together. They were great."
Taylor, I think you were frozen for a little bit. I think you're
Can
on
you hear
mute.
me okay now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go back to sharing my screen. Where did it start cutting out?
Just after you talked about the quote.
Okay, so I was just saying that registering for an academic coach is super easy. You just visit Access Plus and go to ISU appointments, or you can call our office and we can do it for you or walk you through the steps. Um, Coaching appointments do fill up very quickly though, so it's better to be proactive than need one really bad and you're not able to get in for a couple of weeks. So in an academic coaching appointment, they may go over something similar to this. This is one of our time management resources, which is called Do versus Do. And it just helps you organize all of your tasks and better manage your time. They also have various resources for things like motivation, studying, really anything that you could need. Our next academic skill development resource is PSYCH 131. It is a 1-credit graded team-based learning course. You'll learn about and apply the academic skills similar to what a coach would go over, but in a small class of up to 30 students rather than just one-on-one. In this course, you'll talk about things like time management, stress and health, willpower, reading, even how to take notes, and you'll learn how to apply these to each of your classes. Taking this course, though, does not mean that you cannot get an academic coach. You can do both if you would like. The things that you learn in PSYCH 131, your academic coach can help you apply them more directly to your life rather than more indirectly through a larger class. And a quote from a student who took PSYCH 131, the student says, "My study habits before a test have changed greatly. Before, I really only studied the night before a test just to review the material. Now I start studying 5 days or even a week before." So we like to do a skill development self-analysis. Our first question, if you guys wouldn't mind just sharing out quick, is how developed or established are my academic skills? And you can type it into the chat or just unmute yourself.
I felt like my study habits were pretty established, but they definitely evolved because kind of what was required in high school is not what's required in college. So now I feel like I've taken a couple steps back.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually. College and high school are very different, and everybody is going to be at different levels in their academic skill development. But regardless of your personal level, our academic skill development resources will only help you push yourself to a further level. And then another question to ask yourself is, have I ever struggled with time management, motivation, or exam preparation in the past? If so, which ones? For me, at least, time management has always been a big struggle for me. I get pretty easily distracted by like TikTok and Instagram and all of those fun things. Is anyone the same? Yeah, I see quite a few people nodding.
Yeah, Taylor, I was gonna say, especially with online classes, there's a lot more access to like the internet, so it's even harder to stay focused than before.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm pretty guilty of online shopping while I am in lecture. Working on that one though. And if you have any of these issues or if you think they may be a concern for you, definitely check out academic coaching or PSYCH 131. They'll really help you establish those foundations. Another question is, do I get more out of work in bigger groups or one-on-one or partner work? For me, I also prefer one-on-one or partner work because I get distracted in big groups. I see some people nodding, agreeing. But if you prefer bigger groups, then I would recommend Psych 131 because it is a class of about 30. But if you prefer one-on-one or partner work, then definitely look into getting an academic coach because those appointments will always be one-on-one. And then the last question is, do I get more out of routine meetings or with one person, or do I prefer meeting a few times to get something done?
I always like having like routine meetings because it's also just like extra motivation to make sure that like I have stuff done to talk about, or like I know for my tutoring, like it's extra motivation for me to make sure I've covered what I need to cover for that week and not put it off, so that like I'm ready to ask my questions and stuff. So that works well for me.
Yeah, that's a great point. I also prefer more routine meetings. I'm pretty forgetful. So if you are someone like me who prefers routine meetings, then definitely look into Psych 131 because they meet on a weekly basis, whereas academic coaches may only meet 2 or 3 times a whole semester. So another great option that we offer is our presentations and workshops, like what we're experiencing right now. Our workshops are a great option for classes or student organizations like student government. We offer 5 topics, which go over an overview of our services, which is this one, time management, the study cycle, and exam preparation. Towards the end of each semester, we also offer final exam preparation. Students can also attend scheduled workshops on their own throughout the semester. So if you're not in a student organization, or if there's one that you're just particularly interested in, check out our schedule of workshops on our website, and you can attend that without being part of any group or any class. And as a result of students participating in these workshops, about 91% felt that they had established a time management system, and 87% recognized how to set realistic goals for their semester. And to schedule a workshop, you can just go to our website and click the drop-down arrow next to Outreach, and then click Request a Workshop, or click Workshop Schedule to see when we offer the more individual workshops. So now we'll move on to course-based support resources. The first one that I'll talk about is tutoring services. Tutoring services are offered in small groups of 2 to 5 students, and they cost $5 per session, but there are tons of funding sources available. And tutors are consistent. They meet twice every week for 50-minute sessions each. You can request any undergraduate course on our website. And overall, tutees are more satisfied with their college experience because of tutoring. I personally have had 2 tutors, and they were both amazing. I would not have passed biology or chemistry without them. So definitely look into tutoring, even if you don't think that you necessarily need it. It's a good resource and a good support system to have. And then a quote from a student who used our tutoring services. They said, "I honestly love my tutor. She does a really great job at helping me with going over stuff that I've learned in class, and she breaks it down piece by piece to make it more understandable. She really puts a lot of care and effort into her work, and I really appreciate her." And then to sign up for a tutor, you'll just go to tutoring.iowastate.edu and sign into your tutoring profile using your Iowa State Net ID. From there, you can fill in your personal information and then request a tutor. You'll choose which course, what your funding source will be, and then you'll finalize your schedule for when you would like to meet with your tutor. You'll hit submit, and then you'll receive an email from your tutor when you're assigned to a group. Our tutoring database resets every morning, so you could possibly get placed in a group by the next day. Sometimes it can take up to a week or 2, just depending on your availability and when we have groups available. And then the next course-based support service that we offer is supplemental instruction. SI sessions are free and voluntary. supplemental instructors offer 3 or more 50-minute sessions per week. SI is honestly a really great option because the SI leaders sit in your lecture with you, unlike tutors who have taken the course in the past. So they're able to offer you like practice problems or examples directly out of your class lecture notes, rather than trying to recall everything from the semester before. Participants of SI average about 1 letter grade higher than those who don't participate in SI. And 3 out of 4 SI participants indicated that participation has improved their overall academic skills. Another quote from a student says, "My SI leader was not only effective at teaching the concepts and ideas in a fun way, often better than the actual instructors, but she was also friendly and approachable." So if you're just looking for a little bit of extra support, you're not wanting to pay for it, and you don't want to feel obligated to go every week or twice every week, supplemental instruction is great. You don't have to go every week, you don't have to go to every session, and you're not charged for missing a session. So that's a great opportunity. And then just some quick facts about supplemental instruction. In the 2018-2019 academic school year, 3,835 sessions were held. And of those 3,835 sessions, they were held by 30 courses. And then the average GPA difference of SI participants versus non-SI participants in the spring of 2019 was 0.23. So if you put that into perspective of GPA, that is a huge difference. I mean, that could be the difference between making the dean's list and not making the dean's list. So it's definitely a good resource to look into if you're looking for something that, I mean, doesn't require a lot of time, you don't feel obligated to go. SI is a great opportunity. And then finally, we offer some student employment opportunities. Those are offered through tutoring, SI, and then being a peer ambassador or front desk assistant, which is what I do. For each of these employment opportunities, you must be enrolled at Iowa State as an undergraduate student. You must have completed at least a semester at Iowa State. To be a tutor, you need to have at least a 2.5 GPA at Iowa State and have earned a grade of a B or higher in the course. To be an SI leader, you have to have had a minimum of a 3.0 GPA for last semester, a grade of a B+ or higher in the course, and the ability to speak and present information in front of a large audience. And then to be a peer ambassador or front desk assistant, you have to have had a 2.75 GPA and a minimum of a 3.0 for the most recent semester. And then a quote from a student employee, they said, "Being a student employee at the ASC has been one of the most rewarding jobs. It has allowed me to grow as a student leader, experience opportunities that I wouldn't get otherwise, and through it, I have made lifelong connections and friendships." Some quick resources that we offer is a week at a glance schedule and a semester at a glance schedule. The one pictured is the week at a glance, and they just help you kind of write down your whole week, kind of like a to-do list. We offer exam preparation resources, course-specific assistance, and then some resources to help manage health and stress as well, because those are equally as important. So just to wrap things up, what is one of the services or resources that you learned about today that you are going to try?
Well, I'm a senior and I'm going to be graduating here in November, but I feel like I have heard about academic coaching, but I never heard in depth about it and not enough to have looked into it. And this is super interesting to me. I feel like if I would have done academic coaching like even just a semester ago, that could have helped me a lot, and I might even try it like before I graduate just to improve on some of my skills.
Yeah, it's never too late to start trying to better yourself as a student. definitely look into it. If you have any questions about trying to register for one, feel free to ask me or to give us a call at our office too. We would be more than happy to help you get into an appointment. And then I have a resource that's not included in this presentation. I'm going to stop sharing real quick. And it is specifically tailored to online learning. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen.
And this resource that she's sharing is going to be sent out in like a follow-up email after this, so you'll get to have it to reference back again.
Perfect. I won't spend too much time going into depth about this. It's pretty self-explanatory, but we understand that virtual learning is extremely difficult, and it is a huge challenge, especially for those of us who aren't really familiar with how all of these online classes are going to work, or for first-year students who have never even been to college before, and this is their first experience. So this packet offers information on how to set the perfect study environment and how to just get yourself started on studying. And then it also provides some of our resources that we would provide typically through academic coaching or PSYCH 131, but they're specifically tailored now to virtual learning and how to organize those courses. So definitely take a look at that. And then I have this post-workshop survey that I would really appreciate it if everyone would take. We just really like the feedback, and we like to include information that students actually want to hear. So I will copy that into the chat box when I'm all finished. And then feel free to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Iowa State ASC for more academic information and just to learn some tips and tricks from other peer ambassadors. And then you can find us at 1060 Hickson Lead, right off the Orange 23 bus route across from Maple Hall. Or you can visit our website, shoot us an email, or call our office phone. So I will copy that link real quick.
And I'll send that link in the follow-up email as well too.
Perfect. Okay, that is all I have today. Does anyone have any questions for me about any of the resources that we offer, how to use any of them, or anything like that?
So I know you mentioned with the academic coaching, it's I'm trying to remember exactly what you said, like a couple times a semester. So generally, like, what times are like they available? I didn't know if it was like, I know like with tutoring, it depends on like which people. I didn't know what kind of availability they generally have.
Yeah, so our coaches are pretty busy right now, I would say, just because we can only have so many people in our office at a time, and just trying to take on the roles of those who graduated last year. But they have fairly open availability. We can schedule anytime between 8 and 5. So they just fill up pretty quick. That's really the only like scheduling restraint, I would say, because they don't go to class or anything. They're just coaches. So yeah, if you have any questions or need help registering for a coach, you can shoot me an email or visit our website or give us a call. Are there any other questions? Okay, then that is all I have today. Thank you for having me. Again, like I said, if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to us at our office. We're here to help everyone. We want everyone to succeed, especially in these crazy times. So thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you.
All right, so at this point, what we kind of wanted to do is have a little bit of discussion. So if you're a first-year student, could you we can go around, and if you just want to like introduce yourself, say like your name, pronouns, wanting to continue this year or like start doing this year.
Hi, I'm sorry. I don't know if it was just me, but it like kind of cut out. So what did you want us to say? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for letting me know, Sydney. So I was just saying, if you're a first year student, if you want to just go around and you can unmute yourself and just say, like, introduce yourself, say your name, your pronouns, your major, and just something that you are looking to implement that you heard from a speaker today.
I guess I can start. My name is Sydney Hostetter. I'm a freshman, obviously. I'm a genetics major. One of the things I would really like to try academic coaching. I don't know. I'm really interested just kind of like seeing what different ideas they would have for like organizing. I'm normally pretty like strict in my like structure of what I want to do, but I feel like there's definitely better ways to do it. I just haven't really opened myself up to them, so I would like to give that a try.
My name is James Minardi. I am a freshman in computer engineering. I go by he, him, her, he. I forgot the third one. I think the biggest takeaway from this is probably going to be kind of the thing that Sydney was talking about with the cup and the vessel, and making sure not to pour it out when it's empty. I was actually taking an exam earlier today, and I was kind of punching myself in the gut because I was running into time management problems, and that's kind of something I need to reflect on and realize that, you know, everything's going to be okay, and it's just something I can improve on in the future.
Hello. So my name is Madison Karamajanis, and I'll be majoring in chemical engineering. One of the big takeaways would probably be the do versus do diagrams. I feel like those would be really beneficial to like organize all that I have to do, because I have a bunch of planners and I'm getting really confused on what's what. But I've been surviving so far, so it's been good.
Hey guys, can everybody hear me? My internet connection is unstable. Good. Okay. So I just wanted to give any first year students a quick minute. If you did want to ask, we've got a couple upperclassmen here. So if you did want to ask any questions, now would be a great time to do that. So you can get some of your questions about campus answered, because I know a lot of you probably haven't had the normal first year experience. So you can type them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. And then if nobody has any questions, we can wrap it up.
I have a quick question. One of the things I've been struggling with a little bit recently is finding a balance between socially getting to meet friends and do all these club events and go to these meetings, and also trying to balance that against kind of the academic things, the academic side of studying and going to SI sessions and getting tutoring. I was curious if anybody could talk about that.
Hi, James. I can speak to that a little bit. I know I struggled with the same thing freshman year, and I was the type of student who didn't really have to study a lot in high school. And then I was in a pretty challenging major first semester of freshman year, and I had to study a lot. And I would say if you can schedule out your day in advance, that helped me a lot. And so I would schedule my day from like 8 to 5 and get all of my work done before 5, and then I just let myself have the evenings to kind of do more things for myself. And then if I had a meeting, usually those were at 6 or 7, so I would just then schedule my day until 7 for that day. So I think like kind of having more of like the high school, like 8 to 3, 9 to 5, like that kind of day where you get everything done in that period is a really good idea if you're the type of person that likes to be able to do both kinds of things in one day. So that's just my 2 cents. That's what's worked for me.
I'll also add on to that, by the way. Hi, I'm Melissa. I'm a sophomore. I don't know what types of like organization systems you use, but something that's kind of generic but really helpful for me is Google Calendar and like color coding and time blocking and everything. Something else that I do is I literally have it right here, but I just get a journal and then I like make to-do lists. And this seems so tedious, but I promise once you get into a routine of doing it, if you just sit down every night just for like 5 minutes and write out like your priorities for tomorrow, and then like later on, if you decide that you like that and just start adding in smaller stuff that you have to do, and maybe also do some sort of like color coding where like red means like this is like high priority and I have to find time for this and so on, and then kind of putting it into your calendar that way. I found that's really helpful. I'm kind of still in the same boat even as a sophomore, just trying different systems to figure that out, I guess.
Yeah,
I'll
and just
also add something. Oh, sorry. Do you want to go?
oh, you can go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm a second year student. Last year, my freshman year, I took Psych 131. I definitely recommend taking that class. You don't have any quizzes for that class per se. It really just helps you get ready and focused for all your other classes. So like Taylor showed, and like Sophie mentioned, they have your day-to-day calendar where you can plan out your day and you can fit in your academic and social events into that. But then they also help you'll get like a big calendar and it's looking at your whole semester rather than looking at just your day or just your week. And that can be really helpful because in high school, you always have your teachers reminding you of your upcoming assignments and your due dates. And when you get to college, things really just creep up on you, especially trying to balance all your online classes because you're really trying to do a lot of it on your own. But I definitely would recommend freshmen, or even if you're still like a sophomore, taking Psych 131 because that really helped me learning some good study tools and time management skills.
Yeah, and just to add on a little bit, I'm Advait, by the way. I'm a junior in mechanical engineering. And for me, having like a sort of calendar system with different colors, as someone else said, Alyssa said, I believe. So it's like pink for classes, blue for student government, which I do a lot. And more importantly, having like a sort of, I guess, priority list really works out because sometimes there's just big assignments that pop up, and having those at the top of your list is really helpful because in the past I've had smaller assignments at the top because I just had the list randomly set up, and you can miss the big assignments. And just go through your class schedules at the beginning of the semester and see when the exams are and see when the big assignments are due and put those on your calendar right then so you aren't surprised later. And lastly, everyone's different, so I guess freshman year was great for me because workloads were somewhat low and you could try a bunch of things and see what works best for you because, like I said, everyone has a different thing that works best for
And just to add on to that, I'm a sophomore as well, and I just feel like it's a little more challenging even this semester because the semester is shortened to end before Thanksgiving, so it kind of makes it even more challenging, and that kind of makes making these time management things even more important because I'm realizing that like some of the tactics that I used last semester to keep on track aren't working as well this semester because it is like more time constraining. So I would just suggest listening to all this advice because it's really great.
Yeah, I'll also add something. just something that works for me is picking one day of the week to focus on one class the most, or two if you're taking a lot of classes. I don't know about you guys, but like 5 of my classes have all of the assignments due on Sunday. And I fall behind so easily when I wait until the weekends to get everything done. So picking a day where I focus on 1 or 2 classes really helps me stay on a schedule since everything is online and I'm home all the time. And it also lowers my stress levels and makes me genuinely more interested in the class because I'm not just skimming all of the information in a scramble to get everything done.
I just wanted to add one more thing. Sorry. I know you kind of mentioned like the whole thing is like balancing between your academics and then social life as well. And I try to be like really involved on campus as far as organizations go. And I know that those meetings can really pile up. And so the only advice that I have is just, it's kind of like a willpower thing. Like you just have to sit down and like tell yourself like, okay, this assignment is due and this meeting is like on the same day, and you just have to decide what priorities, which obviously I would recommend school, but you know, if there's any way that you can kind of like plan your day around being able to study, like maybe you have to study in the morning now because you have that exam and you have that meeting like near the same time. Just kind of, you know, making yourself as flexible as possible if you want both.
All right, are there any more questions while we're still here?
I will ask something. So, I mean, for me, like as a freshman coming in and everything is like online, it's been like very, I don't know, stressful. It's like not at all what I had anticipated or prepared for. So I guess like, I don't know, it's been a lot harder than I thought. So how do you guys feel? Like what is the difference between like your normal classes? I guess I don't have any other college experience to compare it to, so I'm like worrying that this is just gonna be how I feel for the rest of the 4 years. So like how are you guys feeling compared to your previous classes when things are normal?
Sydney, I want to tell you, you're certainly not the only person that feels that way. And having had 4 other semesters that were, well, I guess last semester wasn't really normal, but I am doing a terrible job of keeping up this semester, more so than any other semester. So you're not alone in that. I think it's really challenging with everything being online, kind of having to guide yourself and keep yourself accountable, and like not having, all of my classes are online, so not having a professor to remind me of things and like having a weekly lecture that I go to is really difficult. So I would just tell you that this semester is unlike any other semester I've had. So I wouldn't say it's reflective of the entire college experience.
Hi, I'm Talene. Also adding on to what Sophie said, this semester is difficult for everyone. Like obviously with incoming freshmen, it's way more difficult because you're experiencing something that no one has ever experienced in their entire college career. Definitely stressful. I'm taking 19 credits, I'm working, and I can't really find like a proper balance right now with online classes, especially with professors assigning so much work. One of the most helpful tips that I could give is trying to set aside for your online classes like a specific time in your schedule where you're like, hey, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to do this, and kind of just using that time. And if you have any questions, reach out to your professor or the TA or attending SI, that kind of stuff. But I wish you all the best because it is a difficult semester, but you can get through this.
I also wanted to add on to what I was saying before because I feel like I didn't give any helpful advice. Another thing that I do is I have made myself a pretend schedule. So like none of my classes have a daily schedule. So I have 3 classes that I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I do them at the same time. And then like I go to the gym at the same time every day. I eat lunch at the same time every day. Like I've scheduled a schedule with breaks and with things the same way that I would do in a regular semester. And that's like the only thing keeping me even a little bit on track, is the fact that like I have, okay, today's Monday, so I know I have to get these 3 classes done and I'm going to do them at this time, because otherwise I would just procrastinate the whole week to Saturday.
Did anyone else have anything that they wanted to add or any questions they wanted to ask? All right, well, we can just go ahead and wrap up the meeting. Thank you guys so much for coming, and thank you, the moderators, for giving your feedback and advice. I think even I'm a sophomore, and I feel like I learned a lot from this, so I hope that you guys did as well. And this was recorded, so we'll be sending that out in an email, as well as the resources from both of the speakers. And if you need anything else, like, feel free. We'll put my email and Sophie's email and both of the speakers as well if you have any further questions. But I hope you all have a great night, and thank you again for coming.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Well.